They'll poke, they'll provoke, and they'll wait for you to explode, because that's how they win. But what if you gave them nothing? No reaction, no weakness, no entry point. Most people try to fight evil by playing its game, shouting louder, hitting back, chasing justice in a rigged system. But the Stoics, they mastered a different kind of warfare, one where your silence becomes a sword and your mind becomes your fortress. This video isn't about being the bigger person. It's about being the smarter one, calm, cold, calculating, and impossible to manipulate. We're breaking down how to deal with toxic people, narcissists, and subtle manipulators without losing your power, using ancient Stoic strategies that still hold up today. If you've ever felt disrespected, provoked, or pulled into someone else's chaos, this is how you win, by never letting them get in. Let's begin. Part 1. Recognize the tactics of evil people. They don't always show up in obvious ways. Sometimes they're loud, angry, insulting, demanding. But more often, they're subtle. They guilt you for setting a boundary. They play victim after causing chaos. They smile while slowly draining your peace. This is the first step of Stoic self-defense. You must recognize that not everyone is playing the same game, and some people are playing dirty. The Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, today you will meet people who are meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly." Why did he say that? Because clarity is protection. So let's break down what evil actually looks like in the modern world. They gaslight you, make you question your reality. They give you the silent treatment, not for peace, but to punish. They only show up when they want something. They triangulate, turning others against you quietly. They provoke, hoping to get an emotional reaction they can use against you later. And here's the real twist. Most evil people don't think they're evil. They think they're entitled to your time, your energy, your emotions, your loyalty. But the truth is this: evil isn't just cruelty, it's control. And the more emotionally reactive you are, the easier you are to control. So how do you outsmart this kind of person? We start with the next Stoic principle. The first real move: don't react, observe. Here's the trap most people fall into. They feel disrespected and they react. They feel insulted and they defend. They feel hurt and they explain. But here's what the Stoics knew, and what evil people hate. Silence is control. Stillness is power. When someone tries to provoke you, they're not trying to win an argument. They're trying to pull you out of character. Because once you start reacting, they've got you. They'll twist your words, use your anger against you, make you look like the problem. That's why Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injustice." In modern language, don't play their game, change the game. Think about this. Have you ever tried to argue with someone who wanted to misunderstand you? No matter how clearly you spoke, they still twisted it. That's not communication. That's manipulation. So here's what you do instead. Breathe, observe, let them talk, say less. You don't need to defend every accusation. You don't need to react to every insult. You don't need to prove anything to anyone whose goal is to make you lose yourself. You're not in this world to be understood by everyone. You're here to stay centered, present, and in control of your own energy. And the beauty is, the more you stay calm in chaos, the faster evil people expose themselves. Because without your reaction, They lose their fuel. They want you triggered. They want you off balance. They want you emotional, because that's how they win. But not today, because from this point on, you stop reacting and you start seeing clearly. Which leads us to the next Stoic habit. Establish the inner wall. Know what you stand for. If you don't know your values, someone else will write them for you. That's why evil people get away with so much. They manipulate people who are unclear about their own limits. Stoicism teaches that the strongest fortress you'll ever build is internal. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." You want freedom from manipulation. You want to be untouchable. Then you need to build what the Stoics call the inner citadel, a place inside you that is ruled by reason, self-respect, and principle. Here's how that looks in real life. You don't chase people who walk away. You don't break your standards just to keep peace. You don't let guilt override your boundaries. You know when to say no, and you don't explain it 10 times. This is why evil people test you. They push to see if you'll bend. They guilt you to see if you'll cave. So how do you build this inner wall? Start simple. Write down your non-negotiables. What behaviors will you never tolerate again? Clarify your core values. What do you respect in yourself, even if others don't? Practice saying no calmly, not with anger, with certainty. Because once you define your inner laws, no one can drag you into their chaos. This is what makes you dangerous in the best way. You're not cruel. You're not reactive. You're just unshakable. And that's what evil people fear most. Someone they can't confuse, manipulate, or guilt into submission. So, we've built the wall. Now let's learn how to defend it with strategic withdrawal. There's a reason Marcus Aurelius said, "You don't have to turn this into something. It doesn't have to upset you." You see, evil people thrive on chaos. They love to drag you into drama. They win when you start defending, explaining, or proving your worth. But here's the truth. Not every battle is worth your energy. Not every comment deserves a response. Not every attack deserves a defense. You're not weak for walking away. You're wise for choosing what's worth it. Here's what a Stoic response to manipulation looks like. You stay calm when insulted. You walk away when disrespected. You cut contact when a pattern repeats. This isn't running. This is retaining your power. Because every time you argue with someone who isn't interested in truth, you trade peace for ego, and peace is far more valuable. Think of a general preparing for war. Would he send troops into every insult, every rumor, every provocation? Number. He strikes with precision, with purpose, with power. That's exactly what you do with evil people. You withdraw from emotional traps. You observe instead of react. And when needed, you cut off access, not as revenge, but as protection, because your energy is sacred. And just like money, time, or health, it should be invested, not wasted. This is how Stoics fought, not with swords, but with strategy. And the next strategy is what makes you untouchable. Detach emotionally. Respond with principle, not pain. Here's what most people don't realize. Evil people aren't just after control. They're after your emotions. Because if they can control how you feel, they can control how you act. They want to see you upset. They want to see you broken. They want to feel like they matter enough to affect you. That's why Stoicism trains the opposite. Epictetus taught, when something happens, the only thing in your power is your reaction. And that's the key. Don't let them write your emotional script. Don't let their actions decide your mood. Don't let their manipulation pull you out of your center. So what do you do instead? You respond with principle, not pain. You make decisions based on your values, not your feelings. You act with clarity even when you're hurt. For example, they insult you. You stay silent. They ghost you. You move on with grace. They try to guilt you. You calmly reaffirm your boundary. Because when they realize you're no longer emotionally available to be controlled, they lose their power. And that's exactly what Stoicism is. Not the absence of feeling, but the mastery of feeling. You're not numb. You're just not owned by emotion anymore. And that's powerful. Because once you master detachment, you're free to act with intention, not reaction. That brings us to the final Stoic defense against evil people. Live better. Let success be the response. The ultimate revenge? Not revenge, it's peace, it's growth. It's building a life so solid, so focused, so elevated, that they're forced to watch from a distance, powerless. See, evil people want you stuck. They want you trapped in the same arguments, circles and cycles. But the moment you stop feeding the fire, it dies. The Stoics didn't teach revenge. They taught transcendence. Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injustice." That means you don't just survive betrayal, you upgrade because of it. You don't just ignore disrespect. You outgrow the environment where it happened. Here's what that looks like in real life. Instead of chasing them, you chase your purpose. Instead of explaining yourself, you master your craft. Instead of proving your worth, you embody it. This doesn't mean pretending it didn't hurt. This means using the pain to level up. Because when your life gets better, cleaner, calmer, more focused, they no longer have access to you. Not physically, not emotionally, not spiritually. And that's not petty, that's power. So next time someone disrespects you, manipulates you, or tries to get under your skin, remember, you don't fight fire with fire. You fight it by becoming so solid they can't even light the match. That's Stoic self-defense.